Night fell over the Pacific Ocean, but the sky wasn't dark enough to hide what was coming. The alien ship had vanished, just like that. No explosion, no trace, only silence and questions. But not far from Earth's orbit, something else had arrived, unseen, unheard, waiting. Silent watchers, far above the clouds, a small satellite drifted silently in space. It was part of the global defense network. Watching the skies for anything unusual, its camera turned slowly, scanning the void. Then it caught something, a flicker. Not light, not shadow, something else. The image was blurry, but clear enough. A shape, long, thin, moving without sound. It looked like a blade made of darkness. And it wasn't alone. More shapes appeared behind it, dozens of them hidden in the solar wind like ghosts riding the stars. The satellite sent one final signal before going silent. Unknown objects detected. Position near Mars orbit. Alarms across the world back on Earth. Alarms went off inside. The underground base beneath the Himalayas. Commander James Reed stood in front of a glowing screen. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "What do we have?" he asked Maya. The young scientist pointed at the data. "We picked up movement near Mars. At least 50 unidentified objects. They're not broadcasting. They're not showing themselves, but they're there." Reed frowned. "They came back." "But why so quietly?" Maya asked. "They're watching," Reed said, "testing us." Behind them, another officer stepped forward. "We've increased radar coverage. We can track them now, but they might already know that." Reed nodded. "Let them know we see them." The first move in space. The alien ships moved slowly, drifting through the cold emptiness. One of them stopped. Its surface shimmered like oil in water. Then opened from its center. A small object dropped out. It was round, smooth, black dot. A drone it began to move toward. Earth, fast, silent, deadly, deadly. A hidden threat back in the lab. Dr. Lena Carter watched the new readings with Raj by her side. "This thing is heading straight for us," Raj said. Lena didn't look away from the screen. "It's not trying to hide. That means it's either here to attack or to send a message." Raj swallowed hard. "Which one do you think it is?" Before she could answer, the power in the lab flickered. Lights dimmed. Computers froze. Then everything came back online. But the screens showed something new. Words, "You are not alone. You are not safe." Lena's heart pounded. "Someone's inside our system." Raj stared at the screen. "They hacked us." "No," Lena whispered. They introduced themselves. The eyes are watching back at the Himalayan base. "Commander," Reed got the report. "They're inside our network," said an officer. Reed didn't look surprised. "Can we kick them out?" "Already tried," the officer replied. "They don't want to be found. They want us to know they're here." Reed walked to the window, looking out at the snow-covered mountains. "They're not just testing our tech," he said. "They're testing our fear." Maya stepped closer. "What do we do now?" Reed turned to her. "We let them watch," he said, "but we start watching them too." He pressed a button on his wrist. Across the planet, hidden satellites powered up. AI drones launched into the air. Invisible sensors spread through the atmosphere. Earth was no longer waiting. We were ready. A new kind of war back in space. The black drone kept moving toward Earth. Then it stopped, just outside the moon's orbit. It hovered there, waiting, watching. Suddenly, it split open. Inside, hundreds of smaller drones poured out, tiny, fast, invisible. They scattered across the sky like insects released from a cage. Some headed toward cities, some toward military bases, others toward nuclear silos. They weren't weapons, they were spies. Eyes in the dark, reporting back to someone, or something far beyond our reach. The truth is out there back in her lab. Lena stared at the last message the aliens had sent. "You are not alone. You are not safe." She turned to Raj. "This isn't first contact anymore." He looked confused. "What do you mean?" "It's surveillance," she said. "They're not here to talk. They're here to judge." Raj paled. "Judge what?" Lena looked out the window at the night sky. "Whether we're worth fighting or worth fearing." Final warning. On the edge of space, the alien fleet waited. No lights, no signals, only presence. Humanity had answered their call. Now they were answering ours. And somewhere, deep in the stars, a new message was sent. Test complete. Results unclear. Further action required, then silence. It was just another quiet night at the Global Space Research Station, high above the clouds in orbit around Earth. The station buzzed softly with the usual sounds, beeps from machines, whispers of scientists, and the distant hum of fans keeping everything cool. Inside the main control room, Dr. Lena Carter stared at her screen. She was one of the top signal analysts on the planet. Her job was to scan deep space for anything unusual. And tonight, she found something. "Hey, this isn't normal," she said quietly, leaning closer. "What is it?" asked her assistant. "Raj, I don't know yet," Lena replied, eyes wide. "But it's not natural. The signal came from far beyond the Milky Way. It pulsed again and again, like a heartbeat in the dark. It wasn't random noise. This was something else. Something made by someone or something." She ran the data through every filter they had. The signal repeated every 47 seconds. It was structured, organized. This is a message," she whispered. Raj frowned. From who? Lena didn't answer. She was already sending the signal to other research centers across Earth. For help? Within hours, the world's best scientists were analyzing the same signal. Governments were alerted, military leaders watched closely. But no one could explain what it meant until a team in Norway cracked part of the code. "It's not a warning," said Dr. Eric Voss, his voice trembling slightly as he spoke during a live broadcast. "It's a call for backup." Silence. Followed, a journalist raised his hand. "Are you saying aliens are asking for help?" Eric looked down. "Yes, that's exactly what we're saying." Across the globe, people stopped what they were doing. Phones lit up, news feeds exploded. Children whispered about it in school hallways. Soldiers tightened security at bases. Aliens weren't attacking. They weren't threatening Earth. They were scared, and they were calling for more of their kind. From A4, the days that followed, Earth's best minds tried to figure out why. Why would aliens need backup? Who or what were they afraid of? Meanwhile, satellites scanned the skies. Telescopes zoomed into the farthest corners of space. Nothing showed up, no ships, no signs of life, until something did dot deep in the outer solar system near Jupiter. A small probe picked up a strange energy reading. It was faint, but moving fast, like a shadow passing through light. Back at the space station, Lena studied the new data. "This isn't just a signal anymore," she said. "Something's coming." Raj looked worried. "You mean they're on their way here?" Lena nodded slowly. "Maybe." That night, the world held its breath. Governments debated whether to go public. Some wanted full transparency. Others feared panic. In the end, the truth was shared. "We are nigh alone," said the president of Earth's United Council, "and we may soon have visitors." First contact. Days passed, then weeks. Nothing happened. No ships, no landings, just silence. Then, one morning, a low-frequency pulse hit Earth. It was weaker than before, but unmistakably the same alien signal. This time, it carried more information. Maps.coordinates.1 pointed directly to Earth. Another led to a distant star system hundreds of light years away. "They're telling us where they're from," said Lena, staring at the screen. "And where they're going," added Raj. But there was something else. Hidden inside the signal was a pattern, a countdown, not loud, not obvious, but clear once you saw it. 52 days. Something was going to happen in 52 days. No, one knew what. Secrets beneath the surface while the world focused on the countdown. A secret group within the military was preparing for the worst. In an underground base beneath the Himalayas, scientists worked day and night. Their mission? To understand the alien tech they'd recovered over the years, pieces of crashed crafts, strange materials, unknown weapons. They called it Project Nightmare. Its goal was simple. If the aliens were scared, maybe they should be scared of us too. At the heart of the project was a man named Commander James Reed. He was ex-military, ex-intelligence, and now in charge of Earth's hidden defense force. He stood in front of a large screen showing the countdown. Left behind him, a young scientist named Maya spoke nervously. "Sir, we've run simulations. If they come in force, we won't be ready in time." Reed turned to her, his face calm. "We don't need to win a war. We just need to scare them enough to never try again." Maya looked confused. How? Reed smiled slightly. By giving them something they never expected. The watchers in the dark far beyond Neptune, something moved. A silent ship floated through space. Its shape was unlike anything humans had ever seen. Long, thin, and covered in shifting patterns that seemed alive. Inside, a being watched Earth. On a glowing screen, it wasn't human, it wasn't friendly, it was one of them. It tapped a clawed finger against the console. Signal received. A second screen lit up beside it. Backup confirmed. The being turned to another figure nearby. They know we're watching. The second figure tilted its head. Good. The countdown begins back on Earth. The world changed. People started building shelters. Families gathered together. Cities prepared for the unknown. Some believed it was the end dot. Others thought it was the beginning of something. Greater dot, but darkness, and the slow turning of distant ships, getting ready for what comes next. Night fell over the Pacific Ocean, but the sky wasn't dark enough to hide what was coming. The alien ship had vanished, just like that. No explosion, no trace, only silence and questions. But not far from Earth's orbit, something else had arrived, unseen, unheard. Waiting, silent watchers. Far above the clouds, a small satellite drifted silently in space. It was part of the global defense network. Watching the skies for anything unusual, its camera turned slowly, scanning the void. Then it caught something. A flicker. Not light, not shadow, something else. The image was blurry, but clear enough. A shape, long, thin, moving without sound. It looked like a blade made of darkness, and it wasn't alone. More shapes appeared behind it. Dozens of them hidden in the solar wind, like ghosts riding the stars. The satellite sent one final signal before going silent. Unknown objects detected. Position, near Mars orbit. Alarms across the world back on Earth. Alarms went off inside. The underground base beneath the Himalayas. Commander, James Reed, stood in front of a glowing screen. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "What do we have?" he asked. Maya, the young scientist, pointed at the data. "We picked up movement near Mars. At least 50 unidentified objects. They're not broadcasting. They're not showing themselves, but they're there." Reed frowned. They came back. "But why so quietly?" Maya asked. "They're watching," Reed said, "testing us." Behind them, another officer stepped forward. "We've increased radar coverage. We can track them now, but they might already know that." Reed nodded. "Let them know we see them." The first move in space, the alien ships, moved slowly, drifting through the cold emptiness. One of them stopped. Its surface shimmered like oil and water. Then it opened. From its center, a small object dropped out. It was round, smooth, black-dotted drone. It began to move toward Earth fast, silent, deadly, a hidden threat back in the lab. Dr. Lena Carter watched the new readings with Raj by her side. "This thing is heading straight for us," Raj said. Lena didn't look away from the screen. "It's not trying to hide. That means it's either here to attack or to send a message?" Raj swallowed hard. "Which one do you think it is?" Before she could answer, the power in the lab flickered. Lights dimmed. Computers froze. Then everything came back online, but the screens showed something new. Words, "You are not alone. You are not safe." Lena's heart pounded. "Someone's inside our system," Raj stared at the screen. "They hacked us." "No," Lena whispered. They introduced themselves. The eyes are watching back at the Himalayan base. "Commander." Reed got the report. "They're inside our network," said an officer. Reed didn't look surprised. "Can we kick them out?" "Already tried," the officer replied. "They don't want to be found. They want us to know they're here." Reed walked to the window, looking out at the snow-covered mountains. "They're not just testing our tech," he said. "They're testing our fear." Maya stepped closer. "What do we do now?" Reed turned to her. "We let them watch," he said. "But we start watching them too." He pressed a button on his wrist. Across the planet, hidden satellites powered up. AI drones launched into the air. Invisible sensors spread through the atmosphere. Earth was no longer waiting. We were ready. A new kind of war back in space. The black drone kept moving toward Earth, then it stopped, just outside the moon's orbit. It hovered there, waiting, watching. Suddenly, it split open. Inside, hundreds of smaller drones poured out, tiny, fast, invisible. They scattered across the sky like insects released from a cage. Some headed toward cities, some toward military bases, others toward nuclear silos. They weren't weapons, they were spies. Eyes in the dark, reporting back to someone, or something far beyond our reach. The truth is out there, back in her lab. Lena stared at the last message the aliens had sent. "You are not alone. You are not safe." She turned to Raj. "This isn't first contact anymore." He looked confused. "What do you mean?" "It's surveillance," she said. "They're not here to talk. They're here to judge." Raj paled. "Judge what?" Lena looked out the window at the night sky. "Whether we're worth fighting or worth fearing." Final warning on the edge of space, the alien fleet waited. No lights, no signals, only presence. Humanity had answered their call. Now they were answering ours, and somewhere, deep in the stars, a new message was sent. Test complete, results unclear. Further action required. Then silence. Darkness. And the slow turning of distant ships, getting ready for what comes next. The alien drones were everywhere. They moved like shadows in the sky, silent, invisible, deadly. But Earth wasn't defenseless. Not anymore. The hidden weapon deep beneath the Himalayas. Commander James Reed stood in a cold, steel-lined room. His eyes were fixed on a glowing screen, showing real-time data from across the planet. Dozens of alien drones had entered Earth's atmosphere. None had been seen until now. "Time to remind them," Reed said quietly, "that we don't just watch, we strike." Beside him, Maya looked nervous. "You're sure about this?" she asked. Reed didn't blink. "We've been preparing for this moment for years." He pressed a small button on his wrist. Across the world, hidden systems powered up, silent weapons came online, and Earth made its move. Operation Nightmare begins in the skies above New York City. One of the alien drones hovered silently over a military base. It scanned everything, buildings, people, vehicles. Then, without warning, it flickered, its signal dropped. A second later, it fell from the sky like a stone. Crashing into the forest below, it exploded in silence. No sound, only fire and light at the same time. Similar events happened all over the world. Drones falling, vanishing, being taken down. "Sir," said a voice through Reed's earpiece, "we've neutralized over 60% of their surveillance units." Reed nodded. "They know we saw them." Maya looked at the screen. "Now what?" Reed smiled slightly. "Now we show them what they missed." The surprise attack back in space. The alien fleet remained still, watching, waiting. Then, suddenly, one of their ships began to glitch. Lights blinked erratically. Systems failed one by one. Inside, panic spread. "What is happening?" No control. Then the ship spun out of orbit. It tumbled into the darkness. Lost. Another ship followed, then another. Something was inside their systems. Something human. "It's working," Maya whispered. Lena Carter stared at her screen back in the lab. The alien tech was being hacked, not by brute force, but by something far more dangerous. A virus, made by humans, designed to infect alien networks, turn their own machines against them. "This isn't just defense," Lena said. "This is war, a message to the stars across Earth." Lights flickered as satellites repositioned themselves from deep within the Himalayan base. A new signal was sent. Not in English. Not in any known language. It was code data, a message built from human fear, strength, and intelligence. "You called for backup. You thought you were safe, but Earth doesn't beg. We fight and we play dirty." The signal was sent into space, powerful, clear, undeniable, somewhere far beyond Neptune. A silent ship received the message. Inside, the alien commander watched, the words flash on its screen. Then it turned to another figure. "They are not weak." The other alien tilted its head. "No," it said. "They are worse than we expected." Fear spreads among the enemy on board. The alien command ship. Chaos grew. Their drones were failing. Their ships were crashing. Their networks were infected. One officer spoke nervously. "They knew we were coming." Another replied, "No, they expected." US, a third added, "and they were ready before we even arrived." The commander stood in silence. Then it spoke. They are not just defending their world. It looked around at the others. They are proving they can destroy anyone who tries. To take it, humanity strikes again back on Earth. The plan continued. More alien drones were being tracked. Some tried to escape. They couldn't. AI controlled. Fighter jets intercepted them mid-flight. Lasers cut through metal. Explosions lit up the night sky. In Moscow, Tokyo, London, Sydney, the same thing happened. Humanity was no longer hiding. We were hunting. Reed stood on the observation deck of the Himalayan base. Maya joined him. "They'll come back," she said. Reed nodded. "They already know." "What we can do," Maya frowned. "Then why are you smiling?" Reed looked at her. "Because now they're scared." Final warning, far beyond Mars. The alien fleet prepared to retreat. One ship after another began to move away from Earth. They weren't defeated, but they were shaken. Their mission had failed. They had come looking for weakness. Instead, they found power, and somewhere deep in the stars. A new message was sent. Warning, planet Earth is not vulnerable. They are strong, they are clever, and they are watching us now. Then silence, darkness, and the slow turning of distant ships, going home with fear in their hearts. Earth had struck back. Alien drones were falling from the sky. Ships were malfunctioning in orbit. The invaders had not just been seen, they had been outsmarted. But humanity wasn't done yet. What came next was no longer defense, it was war, and Earth had one final surprise, a silent attacking the dark silence of space. The alien command ship hovered near Mars. Its crew watched as more of their drones vanished from their systems. No signal, lost contact, units destroyed. Panic grew inside the control room. An officer turned to the commander. "They're hunting us," he said. "They know where we are." The commander didn't move. "We knew this could happen." Another voice spoke from the shadows, "But we didn't expect them to be ready." Down to the surface back on Earth, Commander James Reed stood in the Himalayan base, watching live feeds from around the world. "Phase 2 begins now," he said. Maya looked up from her screen. "You mean?" Reed nodded. Double quotes. "Yes, we lure them down." Across the planet, false signals began to broadcast. Military bases went silent. Cities powered down. Satellites stopped sending data to the aliens. It looked like Earth was falling apart, like we were weak, like we were afraid. Exactly what we wanted them to believe. First, landing near the frozen tundra of Siberia, a strange object fell from the sky. It crashed into the snow with a quiet hiss. No explosion, no fire, just silence. Minutes later, the ground opened. A hatch slid open from inside. Figures stepped out, tall, thin eyes glowing in the dark. Aliens there. Weapons scanned the area. Nothing moved. They signaled to their ship, "Clear landing." Zoned. Moments later, more ships descended, dozens of them, touching down in remote places across the globe. Alaska, Antarctica, Sahara, Antarctica, Sahara Desert, Amazon jungle. They thought they had found weakness. They were wrong. The trap springs back at the Himalayan base. Lena Carter watched the alien landings on her screen. "They're walking right into it," she whispered. Raj sat beside her, eyes wide. "They don't even know they've been played." On the surface, the aliens moved carefully through the cold. Then something changed. One of them suddenly dropped to the ground. His suit sparked. His breathing stopped. Before anyone could react, more of them collapsed. Not shot, not attacked, taken. Down by something invisible, something already waiting. "The nanovirus," Lena said. "It's working." Silent weapons deep, beneath the Earth, hidden for years. The virus had spread silently. It wasn't in the air. It wasn't in the water. It was in the ground, buried in the soil, waiting when the aliens landed. The virus entered their suits through tiny cracks. It traveled through their tech, their oxygen, their bodies. It didn't kill them fast. It made them useless. Slowly shutting down their systems, their weapons. "There comes their minds, sir," one alien cried. "We can't move." The commander tried to speak, but his voice cut out, his vision blurred. Then darkness. "The message is clear back in orbit." The alien fleet saw what was happening. "Landing teams are failing. Contact lost. They're not dying. They're being taken over." Commander Reed smiled as he watched the chaos unfold. They thought they were the hunters. Maya looked at him. They were never in control. Outside, Another alien ship began to spin wildly in space. Its AI screamed in panic. System override. Unknown code detected. Then the ship exploded, not from attack, from internal failure. Humanity hadn't just fought back. We had turned their own tech against them. Final warning, back in deep space. The remaining alien ships gathered. They had come for backup. Now they needed to run. One ship sent a final message to its home world. Earth is not weak. They are dangerous. They do not fight fair. And they have something we never expected. Silence. Then evil. The ship turned dot and vanished into the stars, leaving behind only wreckage and fear. Earth had won the battle. But we didn't just want the aliens to run. We wanted them to tell others what happened. Here, because this wasn't just about one war, it was about sending a message across the galaxy, a warning. The final broadcast from deep within the Himalayan base. Commander James Reed stood in front of a glowing screen. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp with purpose. "Time to send our message," he said. Maya looked up from her console. "You mean tell the world what happened?" Reed shook his head. "No, I mean tell the stars." He pressed a button. On the control panel, across Earth, hidden transmitters powered up. They weren't broadcasting to humans, they were broadcasting to space. To anyone listening, the signal was not made of words. It was made of data, video feeds, ship logs, battle footage, every moment of the alien invasion, their defeat, their fear, powerful burst of energy. Then it was launched into space, fast, silent, unstoppable. Across the galaxy far beyond Neptune, near the edge of known space, an old alien ship floated silently. Its crew watched as the human signal reached them. At first, they ignored it. Then they played it. What they saw made them freeze. Footage of their own kind falling, drones crashing, ships malfunctioning, their strongest warriors defeated, not by weapons, but by something far more dangerous. Human intelligence. Cunning. FEARLESSNESS1. Alien officer turned to his leader. They did this alone. The leader didn't answer. He simply stared at the screen. Then he spoke. "They are not weak." Another voice joined him. "They are not like other species." A third added, "They are different." And somewhere deep inside, they all understood Earth was not just a planet, it was a threat. Fear spreads among alien worlds back in the Himalayas. Lena Carter watched the signal disappear into space. She turned to Raj. "You think someone out there is watching us now?" Raj nodded slowly. "I think everyone is watching us now." Lena looked at the screen again. "We sent them proof." Raj asked, "Proof of what?" "That we're not easy prey, that we fight back, and that if they come here," she paused, "they might not go home." A new kind of power in the United Nations Space Council, leaders gathered for an emergency meeting. The truth was clear. Earth was no longer unnoticed. We were on the map, and not just as survivors, as dangerous. Some leaders were afraid. "What if they come back?" one asked. "With more ships?" Another whispered. Commander Reed walked into the room. He looked at them calmly. "They won't come back." One leader frowned. "How can you be sure?" Reed smiled slightly. "Because we scared them." He looked around the room, and because now every alien in the galaxy knows who we are. Not everyone was scared. Not everyone was scared. Some were curious. On a distant moon orbiting a red sun, a new group of aliens watched the human signal. They were not part of the invasion fleet. They were something else. Peacekeepers, scientists, explorers. One of them, a tall being with silver skin and soft blue eyes, looked at the footage. His partner nodded, but not without honor. The leader turned to them both. "This changes everything." He looked toward the stars. "We must learn more about these humans. They may not be enemies, they may be allies." The first step toward peace back on Earth. The world was still recovering. Cities were rebuilding. Families were coming together. People were asking questions. Was it over? Would they come back? Are we safe? No one could say for sure, but one thing was clear. Earth had proven itself. We were not helpless. We were not weak. We were strong, smart, and ready. Final warning. somewhere in deep space. The alien signal continued to travel. It passed planets. It crossed planets. It crossed star systems. It reached places no human had ever seen. And in one place, far beyond the Milky Way, a new civilization received it. They watched, they listened, they understood, and then they responded. Message received. Humanity is not to be underestimated. We do not know what comes next, but we will watch. Then silence, darkness, and the slow turning of distant ships, looking toward Earth with caution, with curiosity, and maybe with hope. Earth had one dot, the aliens had run, but victory always has a price, and now it was time to pay. The aftermath. The sky above New York City was clear again. No alien ships, no drones, no fear. But the city was broken. Buildings stood half-crushed. Streets were filled with silence instead of life. Fires still burned in places where alien tech had crashed. Across the world, the same scene played out. Moscow, Tokyo, Sydney, Cape Town, victory, yes, peace. Not yet. Commander James Reed stood on top of a ruined building, looking down at what remained of the city. Beside him, Maya spoke softly. We stopped them. Reed didn't answer right away. Then he said, we did, but not without cost. Maya looked around. People were missing. Families were broken. Soldiers hadn't come home. This wasn't just a war, she whispered. It was a warning. Reed nodded. A warning, we answered. A hidden price back in the Himalayan base. Lena Carter stared at her screen. Reports were coming in from across the planet. Casualties, damage, loss. She turned to Raj. I thought winning would feel different. Raj looked tired. It doesn't feel like winning. He pointed at the screen. Feels more like survival. Lena read the latest message from one of the recovery teams. We found bodies. Not all human. Some weren't even born here. She frowned. They died too. Raj shook his head. No, some of them fought with us. Lena's eyes widened. Mean. Raj nodded. Double quotes, the ones who came peacefully. They had been ignored in the rush to celebrate. Now, they were being remembered as heroes. Questions without answers in the United Nations Space Council. Leaders gathered once again, this time not to plan defense, but to ask questions. One leader from Europe stood up. We won, but how close? Were we too losing everything? Another from Africa replied, too close. A third from South America added, we got lucky. Commander Reed entered the room. All eyes turned to him. He walked to the center. Then he spoke. We didn't get lucky. There was silence. We prepared. We planned. We struck before they could. He looked around. But make no mistake, if they come back, we may not win. One leader asked, then why do this? Why fight so hard if we might still lose? Reed looked at him. Because if we don't fight, we will lose. He paused. And because sometimes victory isn't about winning. He looked at the faces around him. It's about proving you're not afraid. The world reacts outside the halls of power. People reacted differently. Some celebrated, others mourned. Children drew pictures of spaceships and soldiers. Parents held their kids tighter than ever. In a small town in Brazil, a woman lit a candle for her brother. He had been part of the secret defense team. He never came home. In London, a soldier sat alone in a park. His uniform was torn. His face was tired. He looked at the sky and whispered, did we do the right thing? Fear within humanity. Don't everyone saw the battle as a victory? In dark corners of the internet, new voices began to speak. What if we went too far? What if we became the monsters we fought? What if Earth is now the danger? Conspiracy theories spread. Some claimed humanity had become cruel, that we had used weapons we shouldn't have, that we had scared not just aliens, but ourselves. Back in the lab, Lena read some of these posts. She turned to Raj. They're afraid of us. Raj sighed. Maybe they should be. Lena looked at him. You think we crossed a line? Raj didn't answer right away. Then he said, I think we proved something. He looked out the window. That we can protect ourselves, but also that we can be dangerous. Final warning, far beyond Mars, in deep space. The alien fleet drifted silently. Their mission had failed, but they had learned something about Earth, about humans. 1. Commander looked at the stars. Then he spoke. They are not weak. They are not peaceful. They are not easy prey. He turned to another. But they are not finished. Silence followed then, and neither are we. The ship turned and vanished into the dark, leaving behind only wreckage, fear, and the quiet echo of a question. Was this really over? Or was it just the beginning? The stars were quiet again. No alien ships, no drones, no war, but Earth wasn't alone. And not every visitor wanted to destroy us. Some came to help. A new arrival in the skies above Antarctica. Something appeared. A ship, not like the ones that had attacked. This one was different. Smooth curves, glowing lights. No weapons visible. It hovered silently over the frozen land. Then it sent a signal. One word. Peace. Back at the Himalayan base, Commander James Reed stared at the screen. Beside him, Maya whispered, "They're here." Reed didn't look surprised. "They've been watching," he said. "Now they want to talk." Maya looked up. "You think they're friendly?" Reed turned to her. "We'll find out soon enough." He pressed a button on his wrist. Across the world, military forces stood by, not to attack, but to protect, just in case. First contact, the right way the alien ship landed gently near an old research station buried in snow. Its hatch opened slowly, from inside. A figure stepped out, tall, thin, skin shimmering like silver in moonlight. Eyes calm, hands empty. Behind it, more figures followed. None carried weapons, none moved aggressively. They simply stood, waiting. A voice crackled through the air. It wasn't loud, it wasn't harsh, it was soft. "We are not your enemies." A translator device in the nearby human camp picked up the words. Commander Reed stepped forward. He looked at the alien leader. Then he asked, "Who are you?" The alien tilted its head. "We are the Vari. We watched your battle. We saw what happened. Reed didn't move, and now you're here. Why?" The Vari stepped closer. "To warn you, and to offer peace." Truth from the stars, back in the Himalayas, Lena Carter listened to the live feed. Raj sat beside her. "They're saying they're not the ones who attacked us." Lena nodded. "That's what it sounds like." Raj frowned. "But then who did?" Lena looked at the screen. "I think we're about to find out." On the ground, the Vari leader continued speaking. "The ones who came before were not our kind. They were hunters. So they tried to break you. Reed crossed his arms and you don't fear us." The Vari smiled slightly. "We respect you." Silence followed then. But there is something far worse coming. A bigger threat. The Vari led the humans to their ship. Inside, they showed them something terrifying. A video, taken from deep space. It showed distant stars. Then, movement ships, dozens, hundreds, all heading in one direction. "Earth," the Vari spoke again. "This is not the end. It is only the beginning." Reed looked at the screen. "What are they?" The Vari answered. "The Devourers. They do not come for conquest. They come for destruction." Lena's voice came through the comms. "You mean they wipe out entire planets?" The Vari nodded. "Yes, and now. They know where you are. A fragile alliance back at the United Nations Space Council." Leaders gathered once again, this time not to discuss defense, but to decide if they could trust the Vari. Some argued they could be lying. They could be spies. We can't trust any alien. Others disagreed. They warned us. They offered peace. That means something. Commander Reed stood up. He looked around the room. "We just fought off one enemy." He paused. "Now we have two choices." He looked at the leaders. "We can shut the door and pretend this never happened, or we can open it and learn everything we can from those willing to help." Asterisk, asterisk, there was silence. Then a vote. The decision. Trust the Vari, for now. Final. Warning far, beyond Neptune, in the cold darkness of space, another message was sent. Not from Earth, not from the VARI, from someone else. Something else. Humanity has proven dangerous. They are strong, they are smart, they are no longer unnoticed. Prepare for arrival, then silence, darkness, and the slow turning of distant ships, heading toward Earth, with fire in their hearts and war in their hands. The Vari had come in peace. They had warned Earth of what was coming, and now humanity stood at the edge of something far worse than the last war. A threat so great, even the aliens were afraid. Echoes in the void, in the Himalayan base, Commander James Reed stared at the footage the Vari had shown. It wasn't just a few ships this time, it was an armada, hundreds. maybe thousands of dark, jagged vessels moving silently through space. No flags, no signals, just death. Beside him, Maya whispered, "They're not coming to talk." Reed didn't blink. Double quotes. "No, they're coming to erase us." Lena Carter entered the room, holding a datapad. "We ran their trajectory," she said. "They're heading straight for Earth." Raj followed close behind. "There's no way they already know about us." Lena looked at him. "They do now." She turned to Reed. "The message we sent into space. The one showing our victory over the First Fleet." Red nodded slowly. "That signal reached farther than we thought." Lena swallowed hard. "It reached them." The Devourers back on the Vari ship, the alien leader explained. "They are called the Devourers. They do not conquer, they do not speak, they only destroy." Commander Reed asked. "Why?" The Vari tilted its head. "They believe life is weakness. They believe planets like yours must be erased." Maya looked horrified. "So they wipe out entire worlds." The Vari nodded. Double quotes, "Yes. And now they will come for you." Silence filled the room. Then Reed spoke. "We stopped one enemy. We'll stop this one too." The Vari looked at him. "You are brave, but bravery alone will not save you." A new kind of war back at the United Nations Space Council. Panic was. Rising leaders from every continent gathered for an emergency. Meeting one general stood up. "We need to prepare for war." Another argued, "We don't even know when they're coming." A scientist added, "We don't even know how many of them there are." Lena joined the meeting via hologram. She looked around the room. "We know enough." She pressed a button behind her. The image of the Devourer fleet appeared. Gasps filled the room. Lena continued, "They're fast, they're silent, and they've already destroyed dozens of civilizations." She paused. "They don't ask questions, they don't negotiate, they just come." She looked at the leaders. "We need to decide now. Do we wait for them to arrive? Or do we find them first?" The hunt begins deep in space. Earth's hidden satellites picked up new readings. Something had changed. The Devourers weren't just moving toward Earth. They were slowing down, watching, waiting, testing on board the Vari ship. The alien leader turned to Reed. "They have seen your strength. Now they are deciding if you are worth the effort." Reed crossed his arms. "They won't get the chance to decide." He turned to Maya. "Launch the scouts." She hesitated. "You mean send humans out there?" Red nodded. Double quotes, "Yes. We're going to find them first." Maya looked nervous. "But what if we can't come back?" Reed looked her in the eye. "Then we make sure Earth knows exactly what's coming." Shadows among the stars far beyond Mars, a small human scout ship drifted silently through space. Inside, a team of scientists and soldiers scanned the void. Weren't looking for life, they were looking for death. Suddenly, the radar beeped, movement detected. Not friendly, not VAAR, something else. Dark, talk, cold, hungry. One of the soldiers whispered. "They found us." Before anyone could react, the screen went black. Then came a voice, low, deep, emotionless. "You should not have come." A flash of light, then silence. The ship was gone. Only static remained. Final warning back on Earth. Lena watched the last transmission from the scout ship. Her hands trembled. "They're real," she whispered. Raj looked at her. "What did they say?" Lena played the final words. "You should not have come." She looked at Raj. "They know we're here." Raj paled. "And now they're coming." Across the world, alarms began to sound. Military bases went on high alert. Cities prepared for the unknown. In the Himalayas, Commander Reed stood on the observation deck. He looked up at the stars. Then he said, "They wanted to see what were made of." He turned to Maya. "Well, now they know." Maya looked at him. "What do we do now?" Reed smiled slightly. "We fight harder." Earth had survived two threats. First, the alien fleet that came in fear. Then, the Vari, who came in peace. Now, the Devourers were coming, and Earth was no longer just defending itself. We were preparing to become something more. Something the galaxy had never seen before. A new kind of power in the Himalayan base. Commander James Reed stood in front of a glowing screen showing real-time updates from space. The Vari had shared knowledge, advanced tech weapons we'd never dreamed of. But it wasn't just about fighting anymore. It was about protecting Maya. Entered the room holding a datapad. "We've finished analyzing the Varus records," she said. They weren't the only ones watching us. Reed looked up. What do you mean? Maya tapped the screen. They showed us other civilizations, ones like ours, ones that fought back. She paused, and others that didn't. Reed frowned, meaning Maya looked at him. There are planets out there, already gone. Reed didn't speak, he just stared at the list of destroyed worlds. Then he whispered, we can't let that happen here. The birth of the Galactic Defense League back at the United Nations Space Council, leaders gathered once again. This time, not just to talk about Earth, but about the galaxy. A new proposal was on the table. Form a galactic defense. League. Bring together humans and allies like the Vari. Protect not just Earth, but other worlds. 2.1 leader from Europe asked, why should we risk ourselves for other planets? Commander Reed stepped forward. Because if we don't, those worlds will fall. He looked around the room, and when they're gone, the Devourers will come for us anyway. Silence followed. Then another voice spoke. If we do this, we won't just be protecting ourselves. A woman from Africa added, we'll be protectors of the stars. Reed nodded. That's exactly what I'm saying. Not everyone agrees. Not everyone supported the idea. Some feared Earth would lose its identity. Others worried we were becoming too powerful. On social media, debates exploded. Are we becoming heroes, or are we becoming tyrants? Should we fight for other worlds, or just our own? In a quiet lab, Lena Carter watched the posts scroll by. Raj sat beside her. You think we went too far? He asked. Lena didn't answer right away. Then she said, I think we've reached a point where we can't go back. She looked at Raj. We've proven we can protect ourselves. She turned back to the screen. But now we have to decide how far we're willing to go. Training for the stars across the planet, training centers opened. Soldiers learned alien tactics. Scientists studied Vari tech. Pilots trained in deep space combat. Children grew up knowing Earth was no longer alone. They didn't dream just of being doctors or teachers. They dreamed of flying ships among the stars, of fighting monsters no one had ever seen, of saving entire worlds. In a small town in Canada, a young girl stood outside a recruitment center. Her father put a hand on her shoulder. You sure about this? She nodded. I want to help. He smiled. Then go. A dangerous choice back in orbit. A Vari ship floated silently beside a human warship. Inside, the Vari leader spoke to Reed. You are changing. You are no longer just survivors. You are warriors. Reed looked at him. You say that like it's a bad thing. The Vari tilted his head. It depends on what kind of warriors you become. He paused. There is a fine line between protection and conquest. Reed crossed his arms. We're not looking to conquer anyone. The Vari looked at him. Good. He stepped closer, but remember this. His voice lowered. Power without purpose leads to destruction. Reed held his gaze. We won't forget. Final warning far beyond Neptune, in the cold silence of space. A message was sent. Not from Earth, not from the VAARI, from somewhere else. A hidden observer, watching, waiting. Humanity has grown stronger. They have chosen to protect. But strength brings temptation. Will they remain guardians, or will they become hunters? Silence followed. Then the message ended. Only time will tell. The stars were no longer silent. Across the galaxy, whispers spread. Earth had answered an alien call for backup. Not with fear, not with surrender, but with something far more terrifying. Strength, intelligence, and the will to fight back now. The galaxy watched, waiting, watching, preparing, the silence before the storming orbit above Earth. The sky was clear. No ships, no alarms, no war, yet deep in space. Something stirred. A signal, weak at first, then stronger. It came from beyond the known stars, from a place even the Vari feared. The message was short. You won. That was all. No threat, no warning, just those two words. Lena Carter sat in her lab, staring at the screen. Raj stood beside her. They're watching us, he said quietly. Lena nodded. They always have been. She looked up at the night sky. Through the window, but now they know what we can do. Humanity's choice back in the Himalayan base, Commander James Reed stood in front of a large screen showing real-time updates. The Devourers had paused. Their massive armada still moved toward Earth. but slower now, like predators testing their prey. Maya entered the room. "We've finished analyzing the last signal," she said. Reed turned. "What does it mean?" Maya hesitated. "They're not coming just to destroy us," Reed raised an eyebrow there, "coming to see if we'll fight them." He didn't look surprised. They already know the answer. Maya looked at him. "What if this time we don't wait for them to come to us?" Reed smiled slightly. "Go to them." The first strike far beyond Mars. Earth's new fleet floated silently in space. They weren't just human ships anymore. They carried Vari allies, weapons, built from both worlds, AI, drones, stealth tech, everything humanity had learned from the war. "Commander?" Reed stood on the bridge of the USS Aegis, the flagship of the Galactic Defense League. He looked out at the stars dot behind him. Maya spoke. "They're watching." Reed nodded. "Good." He pressed a button on his wrist. Across the fleet, weapons powered up dot ships moved into position. And then, a single ship broke formation. Fast, silent, unstoppable. It headed straight toward the Devourer fleet, alone. A message was sent. "You wanted to see what we are made of. Now you will learn." The message is clear. The lone ship reached the edge of the Devourer fleet. It didn't fire. It didn't speak. It simply released a signal. 1 second 1. Burst of data encoded with everything Earth had done. Every battle, every victory, every enemy we had defeated. Then the ship vanished, jumping away before any attack could reach it. Inside the Devourer command ship, the message played. Silence followed. Then a voice. "This species is not like the others." Another voice replied. "They do not run, they do not beg, they do not die." Easily a third voice asked, "Should we continue?" There was a pause. Then the commander spoke. "We watch, we learn, and we decide." The ship turned. The entire fleet began to move, not toward Earth, but away. The galaxy reacts back on Earth. The news spread fast. The Devourers had stopped. They hadn't attacked. They had left. People celebrated. Cities lit up. Children laughed. But not everyone was cheering in quiet. Corners of the internet, warnings appeared. What if we've become too strong? What if we've scared the galaxy more than the aliens? What if we're now the danger? Asterisk, asterisk, in the Himalayan base. Lena read one of the posts. She turned to Raj. "They're afraid of us." Raj looked at her. "Maybe they should be." Lena frowned. "You think we went too far?" Raj shook his head. "No, I think we proved we can protect ourselves." He looked out the window. "But now we have to decide who we really are." The last words from the stars far beyond the Milky Way. In the cold silence of space, a final message was sent. It wasn't from the DEVOURERS. It wasn't from the VAAR. It was from someone else. Someone watching. Humanity has changed. They are no longer prey. They are no longer unnoticed. They have proven strength. They have proven cunning. They have proven power. Now comes the hardest test. Will they use their power wisely, or will they become the monsters they fought? Silence followed. Then the message ended. Only time will tell. Final scene. Earth's watchful eyes on a rooftop in New York City. Commander Reed stood alone. He looked up at the stars. The sky was peaceful, but he knew better. Peace was fragile. Power was dangerous, and Earth had both. Maya joined him. "They're gone," she said. Reed didn't take his eyes off the sky. For now, Maya looked at him. "What happens next?" Reed smiled slightly. "That depends on us." He turned to her. "We showed the galaxy we're not weak." He looked up again. "Now, we have to prove we're not monsters."